Chodesh Tov. Another very popular method of cooking, especially for cholent or chamin or whatever else a person is making for Shabbat morning, is a crock pot. It's very popular. Crock pot is very easy. You put all the ingredients inside, flip the switch, and it's a slow cooker. It takes a long time to cook, and it's perfect for Shabbat morning. The only issue is, in Halacha, I'm not going to talk about the hatmana aspect, insulation aspect of using a crock pot on Shabbat. Maran Zechron Bracha writes in Chazon Avadia that is, in terms of hatmana, using a crock pot is not an issue for several reasons. But in terms of shehiyah, in terms of leaving the food in the crock pot as Shabbat begins, that can sometimes be a problem, and I'll explain. What would you say to begin with? How would you look at the crock pot itself? Well, the fire is kind of covered. No, what's the fire? The coils inside, they're covered by the aluminum base. Nevertheless, what are you going to say? That's like a plata, it's like a blech. No, it's not. The poskim say that when we say that the fire has to be covered, that's because that's making it a different manner than you used to cook during the week. Therefore, when you cover the stove with a blech, that's different. It creates a hekir. When you use a plata, that's different. Nobody cooks on a plata during the week. A crock pot, by the way, you think a crock pot is a Jewish invention? What do you think? Mapiton. Crock pot people use all the time. It's perfect. You go to work in the morning, you put something, before you go to work, you put it in, you turn it on, you come back from work, in the later in the evening, you have dinner. People use it all the time to cook during the week. It's a regular method of cooking. And therefore, over there, the fact that the thing is covered by the aluminum, that doesn't work. It's considered la'alacha esh geluya. It's considered an open flame. And therefore, there's only two ways in terms of the isur of shehiyah to use a crock pot on Shabbat. Number one is either if you want to use the crock pot as is, you have to make a tikkun b'ma'achal. What's that? You have to make sure the food is prepared enough. That means according to Maran HaShulchan Aruch, it's mitztamek viralo, mevushal kol tzorchem mitztamek viralo, which by a cholent it's usually not. Or at least according to Minhag HaSfaradim, it has to be half cooked by the time Shabbat begins. Now you might think, okay, big deal, half cooked, how much is that? The problem is, Rabotai, listen carefully, with a crock pot, how long does it take to get a cholent fully cooked in a crock pot? Sometimes it can take 6, depends what setting you're cooking it on, but sometimes 6, 7, 8 hours. Yeah? When do people usually put up their cholents? Before Shabbat, Friday afternoon. In the winter, you have very short Friday afternoons, such that if you put it on anytime on Friday afternoon, it's very possible that by the time Shabbat begins, it's not going to be even half cooked by the time Shabbat starts, and therefore that's going to be isur shehiyah, and you're not going to be allowed to eat that cholent on Shabbat because it's a product of isur shehiyah. People don't pay attention to that. So either you have to make sure that you put it on early enough on Friday morning, whenever it is, that when Shabbat begins, if it's fully cooked, matov manayim, but at least half cooked before Shabbat begins, or if it's not going to be that, sometimes people come home and they put it on right before Shabbat, half an hour or so before Shabbat. Over there, that's not going to help you. You would have to make a blech inside the base of the crock pot. How do you make a blech on the inside of the crock pot? Either sometimes people have custom-made blech. They take an aluminum sheet, like the flat one that they put on the stove. You cut out like a circular thing. You put it on the bottom of the base of the crock pot, blech. Or another way to do that is that you take a few pieces of aluminum foil, not just one sheet, because that can rip. A few pieces that shows that it's nikar, that you're putting it there for a blech, and you cover the base with that. That also can be used as a blech. Hagon Chacham David writes in Halacha Berurah, and once you do that, even if it's not half cooked before Shabbat, at least you were mitaken et ha'esh, you made a blech, you made a garuf v'katum in the base of the crock pot, in which case you'd be allowed to do that as well. Yom Tov and Chodesh Tov.